Okay, so I've just opened the box up. Just that you can see inside here, there's a double cardboard box, which is always great for shipping. We've got the invoice here. Put that aside, and look at that. Great protection here. Always want to have good protection. And we've got the styrofoam lids. I'm going to try to take this out with one hand. A little tricky at the moment. Okay. And I'm going to put this aside for a moment just so you can see what's in the box. We have got a good old power supply. We've got the owner's manual, which I'm sure I'll be referencing either that or Google, one of the two. And again, here is the FM3. I'm going to go ahead and pull the styrofoam sides off, and we are in a nice little Ziploc bag. And there it is, styrofoam off and pedal by itself. It's pretty cool. You know, I've had a hard time gauging how big exactly it is online. So what I'm going to do here is just go ahead and put it next to my normal pedal board, and you can see it there next to a wah pedal, which is about the size of my hand. Same exact depth, if you will. Height is about, I don't know, you can see that compared to just a normal good old pedal. Okay, so we are plugged in here, and I just want to take you through kind of the first couple things that I would do and am doing. So first off, I realized I needed to tune up. So right off the bat, we got our tuner, which we can find by hitting the A button there, and there's our tuner. And obviously at this point I can go ahead and tune. I can't right now because I'm holding a camera. But you can see here we've got a couple pages in addition to the tuner. So if I hit the page over, we've got configuration. And what I actually really like about this is by default, I actually already changed this, but if I go to output and I change the value, by default the mute is off. So when you hit the tuner and you tune, you're still going to hear it through your system. So I've already taken the liberty of going over here and turning it to muting the output. But obviously they give you the option of muting the input, and there's a calibration knob and use offsets. We'll have to dive into that another time. But for the moment, just recognize that we've got those couple options there for those of you who are interested. And then we've got this offsets page. And I think this is actually kind of interesting because we can offset if you like. So for example, if you feel like no matter how intonated you get your B string, it's still sharp, you could in fact go down to the B string here and tune it ever so slightly flat. And that way it'll show up in tune, but it'll in reality be a little bit flat, but it might be desirable. It might actually sound more in tune at that point. So again, I'll save the dissertation on that for another time, but just recognize that you do have that option. So I'm going to go ahead and back out of the tuner, and we're back to the main page here. And right off the bat, we've got a ton of options, which is pretty cool. We'll save some of the deep dive for later, but I want to point out this one thing, that from this menu, from the 59 bass guy and the 4 scenes within it, we can go to the next page and scroll on down to the different presets. Oops, excuse me. I go down to the page, and I can scroll down to 65 bass guy. We've got brown face, we've got some Fenders, we've got a AC-15, which is a Vox amp, top boost, which is like the AC-30, Princeton, some Marshall Plexis, Marshall JCM 800s, some Boogie amps, the USA Mark IV, 2C Plus. So all the a bunch of the sounds that that Fractal is known for emulating, and a bunch of people's favorite sounds. Okay, so now I've had to darken my screen a bit just so I can get the text to show up on the camera. And these 3 buttons are actually the most, in my opinion, the most interesting part of this. And they were the most confusing thing when this first came out. I really didn't understand how they worked, and it was hard to kind of quite figure it out. But now that they're in front of me, now that I have the box in front of me, it's actually extremely intuitive. So I want to take you through exactly what these do. So right off the bat, we've got our presets, we've got our scenes, and our effects. and these are different ways of seeing the information stored here, or at least switching between the different sounds that are going. So right now we're in preset mode, okay? So if I want to switch between presets, I just hit the preset mode, and there's our 59 bass guy, which we already talked about. There's our second preset, or I guess 001, 65, brown face. And if I hold this right button, it's going to take me to the next set of sounds. So this is going to be 003, I guess, deluxe verb, 004, double verb. There's our AC15, and so on. We can keep going through all the tones just like that. And of course, we can go back through each one, and now we're back to 000, 59 bass guy. So if you are setting up your sounds by making different presets, that's all you got to do. So this will be your first three. Let's say it's, you know, a clean, let's say it's a Fender, then you got a rhythm, which is a Marshall, and you got a boogie for your lead. Voila, there it is. There's your three presets. Now if I hold this, we can go back to, you probably saw it flash there, master layout. So now we're back to our main window. So now we could also hit scenes, and this is going to be scenes within that first preset. So 000, 59 bass guy. So there's our crunch, which is scene 1, cranked scene 2, drive scene 3, and same thing. If we hit this over, there's our fourth scene, so that's solo, and then of course these have not been programmed at all by default. So I can go back here, and I can also hit that center button to get back to our main screen, okay? Now the other way we can look at this, or that we can access sounds, is by hitting the effects knob. And now here we've got our drive, we've got delay, we've got reverb. If we need to get more effects, we just hit over one, chorus, flanger, and of course if I want to engage the flanger, I turn it on. Okay, and in fact, look at that. Flanger 1 bypassed, flanger 1 enabled. It tells us right there. So that's pretty stinking cool. You got presets, you got scenes within the presets, and you got effects.